It's just afternoon, so I'll wish you all a good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Governor's Hurricane Conference Awards Luncheon. I'm David Rajero, President of GHC, and on behalf of the board, on behalf of the directors, the officers, the volunteer and paid staff of the Governor's Hurricane Conference, we welcome you to this year's awards presentation. It is my pleasure to introduce Reverend Roger Hagan, Chaplain of the Florida Emergency Preparedness Association, to give the invocation. Reverend Hagan.
Please remain seated and let's bow our heads together. Our God, we pause for a moment this day to recognize those in the past year that have great accomplishments, but we also want to acknowledge you. We thank you for this day. The scriptures taught us that this is the day that the Lord has made. We'll rejoice and be glad in it. We thank you for the governors of the state of Florida and the public servants that have the wisdom and the knowledge to make us to be better prepared, even as you teach us to be better prepared for afterlife. We ask, oh God, today that you would bless the leaders of our nation, bless our troops that serve us around the world. We thank you today, oh God, for the memory of those that are not with us again. We thank you for Guy Danes and others that have done so much to lead this conference to the great heights that they have already. We miss the presence, but the essence is still with us today. Now, our God, we ask that you would bless this food to its intended purpose to nourish and strengthen our bodies. We ask that you would get the glory out of our lives in your name. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Hagan. Please enjoy your meal and the company at the table. Our awards ceremony will begin right after lunch. I hope you've enjoyed your lunch. Please keep enjoying your desserts and coffee. Before we begin our recognition of the recipients of today's awards, I'd like to introduce the members of the awards committee who have the difficult responsibility of selecting the most worthy candidates from among the many nominees submitted for consideration. As I call your names, please stand and remain standing. I also ask that members of the audience hold your applause until all the names have been announced. Mercy Carl serves as the chairman of the awards committee, but she's unable to be with us today. Sally Bishop is the Pinellas County Emergency Management Director and a member of the Florida Emergency Preparedness Association. Evan Rosenberg, the Recovery Bureau Chief of the Florida Division of Emergency Management. Kathy Hayworth, Regional Volunteer Director, North Florida Region of the American Red Cross. Fred Johnson, Meteorologist in charge with the National Weather Service in Melbourne. And of course, the committee is supported by Executive Vice President Lynn Daines and the Director of Administrative Services, Renee Daines. Please join me in thanking them for their diligent work. Before we begin honoring the recipients of today's awards, I have a few announcements. Your feedback is very important to us. Please be sure to complete your paper evaluations of the sessions that you have attended and turn in the paper evaluations as you leave the conference for your certificate of attendance in the GHC registration area. Also, please complete our online survey either on the app or on the GHC website. We need and we diligently use this information in an effort to constantly improve your experience at this conference each year. I also have to announce that the GHC Market, which many of you may have seen, where we sell the logoed shirts and jackets, will only be open until 3:30 today. So if you've been holding off to buy that jacket, those nice jackets, or one of the shirts with the new logo on it, your last chance is this afternoon. Don't wait till tomorrow. Also, I ask that you all please stay with us until the conclusion of this session so that all of our recipients are properly recognized. I think that everyone here will agree that the main purpose of this conference is education, and to facilitate that goal, all workshops should begin and end on time. Therefore, because of our tight time constraints today, we are unable to entertain spoken comments from all of our award recipients. You will be able to view their acceptance remarks on the screen as they come to accept their awards. You may also view their remarks on our website after the conference. We make one exception to this for the recipient of the Governor's Award, which is our most prestigious honor. Last year, we included a special memorial honor in the awards program in an effort to recognize the contributions of those in various fields of community service who have passed away. David Griffith began his career in Florida, conducting the first federally funded hurricane evaluation studies, first for Lee County and then for the Tampa Bay region. Those studies remain the basic blueprint for regional hurricane evaluation studies conducted nationwide today. Later, David helped develop and market emergency information system software, the EIS software, used by a number of Florida counties. At Marsh Associates, he helped private sector clients mitigate their exposure to a range of hazards. 3 years ago, David became manager of the National Hurricane Program at FEMA. David was credited by his peers for moving the program forward in many important ways. David passed away unexpectedly on the 1st of January of this year. He's survived by his wife and 3 adult sons. Gordon Lewis Guthrie was appointed as Director of the Division of Emergency Management of the Department of Community Affairs in 1984, where he served until his retirement in September 1991. It was during Gordon's tenure as the DEM Director that the idea for a Florida-specific conference focusing on hurricanes was first suggested. Gordon embraced the idea. The division, in partnership with Florida Emergency Preparedness Association and the American Red Cross, co-sponsored the inaugural Governor's Hurricane Conference in 1986 in Howey in the Hills. Anyone in the room was there? Thank you. An Air Force veteran, Gordon was an avid golfer who, after retirement, enjoyed time as a player and part-time assistant manager at the Hillman Park Golf Club in Tallahassee. Gordon passed away on September 17 last year at the age of 78 in Tallahassee. C. Everett Vaughn served as the Senior Operations Manager for the Palm Beach County Division of Emergency Management for over 9 years until October 2012. In this leadership position, he helped the Palm Beach County EOC prepare for and steer through the 2004 and 2005 storm seasons. He was well respected by his colleagues and served as a mentor. Prior to moving to Palm Beach, he was the Emergency Management Director for the Commonwealth of Virginia. He was also a paramedic and first responder at the Pentagon during the 9/11 attacks on America. Everett lost his battle with a serious illness while serving as the EMS Director at Palm Beach State College in March of this year. And his passing has left a personal and professional void in the emergency management and EMS communities in the Treasure Coast. Saran Sally Daines Boeing served the Governor's Hurricane Conference as a registration volunteer from 2005 till 2013. The sister of one of the founding fathers of the GHC, Guy Daines, Sally retired from her nursing career and began volunteering for us. She was the sunshine of the registration desk, unfailingly cheerful and accommodating to attendees and her fellow volunteers. Her husband Jack began joining us as well in 2011 in merchandise sales. Sally and Jack missed last year's conference while she was finishing her chemotherapy. She passed away October 28th of this past year from a recurrence of her cancer. Our GHC volunteer and paid staff team and the many attendees who knew her have deeply missed her enthusiasm for serving this conference. Guy Daines was one of the told Ann she had to jump up and down and distract my attention if I started getting choked up. Guy Daines was one of the founding fathers of the Governor's Hurricane Conference in 1986. After serving a decorated U.S. Army career, including a tour in post-war Korea, 2 tours in Vietnam, he retired as a lieutenant colonel. He began his next career serving as Director of Emergency Management for Pinellas County, then as Director of Pinellas County Fire and EMS. He was a national leader in emergency management, passionate in all his professional undertakings, and a mentor to many in the profession, including many in this room. After retirement, he continued as an active GHC Vice President, helping grow and shape the conference into the success that it is today. He was also a tirelessly dedicated volunteer, serving countless hours behind the scenes and on site at our conferences for another 15 years. He passed from this life a few weeks ago on April 17th after bravely battling the last of many cancers. Had it not yet been for Guy's efforts, we might not be here today. Please join me in a moment of silence for our departed friends and colleagues. Now, I'm going to introduce some of the members of the Board of Directors of the Governor's Hurricane Conference who are going to assist in presenting the awards today. Stephen Cooper is Acting Regional Director of the National Weather Service Southern Region. One of our board members, Scott Garner, was unable to be here today, so Mitchell Smichael of the Florida Emergency Preparedness Association will help us. Jack Morgan is Division Disaster Executive for the Southeast and Caribbean for the American Red Cross. Evan Rosenberg is Recovery Bureau Chief of the Florida Division of Emergency Management. Also assisting us today is Ann Rowe, the Governor's Hurricane Conference Media Coordinator. You all can come up now. We now begin our presentations with the 2015 Innovation Award, which is our newest award and one that recognizes the conception and development of a new and unique program or system in the field of hurricane preparedness, response, recovery, and mitigation within the state of Florida. This year's award goes to an agency as well as its director. The director is well known for her years of involvement with the conference. She is well respected by our colleagues for her enthusiasm and professionalism as an emergency manager. Likewise, the agency she directs has a history of thinking outside the box to find new and unique ways to protect its citizens. Their nomination credits them with the creation of the Pinellas County Storm Surge Protector Online Viewer, a tool that allows individuals to personalize their own risk assessment for storm surge. Please join me in recognizing the first recipients of the Innovation Award, Sally Bishop, Director, and the Office of Pinellas County Emergency Management. Accepting are Sally and Joe Borries, the Operations Manager. Next is the Tropical Meteorology Award, which goes to an individual who has made outstanding or substantial contributions to the advancement of knowledge, application, or understanding of the hurricane forecasting and warning process in the state of Florida. In this category, we have 2 outstanding recipients, both of whom are science and operations officers. They're described as a highly skilled and visionary duo. Their nomination praises them for their efforts to fill critical gaps in tropical training for coastal weather field forecasters. Through their efforts, the content and quality of hurricane-related decision support and messaging has been significantly improved. Their bold leadership has helped to shape the evolving decision process needed to confront future hurricane emergencies in Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to announce that the recipients of the 2015 Tropical Meteorology Award are Andrew Devanis and of the National Weather Service in Key West, and David Sharp with the National Weather Service in Melbourne. Our third award is the Public Education Public Information Award. This award is granted to an individual or organization that has developed an innovative and effective public education tool or program which has improved hurricane preparedness, response, recovery, or mitigation in the state of Florida. This year's recipient is an organization that launched a successful public information campaign that was designed to educate citizens regarding the storm surge evacuation zone in which they resided and to provide tangible information to the county's residents about resources available to them during and after a disaster. This was accomplished through the use of posters, mailer inserts, bookmarks, and interactive web page. The effort is known as the Palm Beach County Know Your Zone campaign. The agency that managed and implemented this effort is the recipient of the 2015 Public Education Public Information Award. Please join us in honoring the Palm Beach County Department of Public Affairs. Accepting on behalf of the department is Lisa De La Riondo, the Director of Public Affairs. Our next category deals with an award for public-private achievement, and it is designed to recognize the contributions of an individual or an organization, large or small, from the nonprofit or private sector that has made a substantial contribution to hurricane preparedness, response, recovery, mitigation, or research. This year's awardee, who works for the nonprofit sector, is noted as the epitome of the spirit and the commitment to voluntary response and recovery work. Among his many contributions, he is praised for his assistance to victims of disasters, his training of communities, volunteers and external staff, his writing of grants to make recoveries happen, his unique ability to bring people and supplies together in order to serve those in need during times of crises, and to foster and build relationships between the voluntary sector and governmental agencies. Overall, he has done a yeoman's job in outreach to the community he serves. Therefore, for his outstanding contributions, the honor of this year's Public-Private Achievement Award goes to Gabe Tischler, Emergency Management Specialist with Catholic Charities of Florida. Our next award is the Lifetime Achievement Award. It recognizes an individual who has made an outstanding and substantial contribution and made accomplishments in the field of hurricane preparedness, response, recovery, or mitigation at local, state, or national levels over an entire career. This year's honoree is credited with 30 years of public service, during which he has served as a firefighter, a 911 dispatcher, a corrections officer, and an operations officer with emergency management, responding to numerous hurricanes and tropical storms. Because of his outstanding service, his efforts as a first responder and as an emergency manager have been acknowledged in the past by this conference. This year, he is again honored by the Governor's Hurricane Conference, and now we recognize him for his many commendable years of service over the course of his career. It is my pleasure to present the 2015 Lifetime Achievement Award to John Dosh, Director, Escambia County Emergency Management. Our next award is for Distinguished Service, and it recognizes the cumulative outstanding contributions to some aspect of hurricane preparedness, response, recovery, mitigation, or research in the state of Florida. The nomination of this year's recipient indicates that disaster preparedness is his passion. He began his career as a disaster preparedness technician with the Air Force, where he served for 20 years. Over the past 20 years, he has served on various disaster response teams to many hurricanes, as well as tropical storms, fires, floods, and public health emergencies. In his current position, his duties cover 10 counties, but his expertise in preparedness is used all across the state of Florida. He is considered to be a master instructor and has provided countless hours of training to thousands of responders of different disciplines throughout many counties in Florida. His activities and contributions have earned him the title of the Yoda of Preparedness and granted him the honor of being the recipient of the 2015 Distinguished Service Award. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate Robert Fasiba. Robert is the Regional Planner, Special Needs Consultant, 6EM Systems Administrator, and Glades County Planning Section Chief. Before we go to our last scheduled award, there's an award that does not appear on the nomination form sent by the conference each year, and it is titled the Special Achievement Award. Unlike other categories, the recipient of this award is recommended by the conference officers, by the staff, for the individual's exemplary service to and support of the Governor's Hurricane Conference. This year's recipient made the serious mistake of writing in his 1993 GHC evaluation form, "What can I do to help?" So you might want to put that in your evaluation form as you turn it in. He has been a volunteer ever since, beginning in Tampa, coordinating the nonprofit exhibitors and evolving as we move to Fort Lauderdale to the official ambassador of the Governor's Hurricane Conference, providing airport and other transportation for dignitaries, speakers, and instructors, and even the occasional service dog. When he began volunteering, he was a Putnam County Sheriff's deputy, then Putnam County Sheriff, and then with the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. This individual received this same award in 2003 at 10 years of service, but since that time, he has continued to serve, representing his various agencies, then in 2013 retiring to Wisconsin, though not really retired, to his wife's childhood home, and he has continued to travel at his own cost to volunteer for us. The honor of the 2015 Special Achievement Award goes to the Governor's Hurricane Conference Volunteer Extraordinaire, Dean Kelly. And now we come to our most prestigious award, the Governor's Award. The recipient of this honor must have made an outstanding and major contribution to the cause of hurricane preparedness, response, recovery, mitigation, or research in the state of Florida. The impact of the individual's achievement must be statewide in scope. This year's honoree certainly fits all the criteria for this award. She has dedicated 30 years of her successful career to emergency services on local, regional, and state levels. During this time, she has played a leadership role in more than 50 presidentially declared disasters, including many hurricanes and tropical storms, becoming known throughout Florida and even beyond as a skilled relationship builder and the statewide go-to person regarding the hurricane effort. Her list of accomplishments is far too lengthy to enumerate, but as quoted from her nomination, there is no one who can match the contributions she has made to our state. This recipient has recently retired from the agency she represented for 3 decades, but her passion to protect the citizens of Florida will continue as she moves into her new role as Chief of Staff of the Agency for Persons with Disabilities. For her exceptional and commendable efforts, it is my distinct honor to present to a fellow agency colleague the 2015 Governor's Award to a Disaster Services Leader, Karen Hagan.
Thank you. This is a great honor, and I am humbled and appreciative of this special recognition. I was thinking about numbers, and I came to Florida in 1988, and since then I was able to serve and get to know 5 governors, 7 Division of Emergency Management directors, about 13 FEPA presidents, so many Governor's Hurricane Conference presidents and boards of directors and officers, scores of independent sector, volunteer, charitable, faith-based organizational leaders, hundreds of local emergency management directors, amazing Red Cross leaders, and thousands of dedicated volunteers. What a privilege that is to get to know all those people with the passion and capabilities and commitment to serving this great state and to meeting people on their worst day. And all of these folks, all of these agencies are interdependent, and we should be. I mean, it takes all of us to serve, and it takes all of us to plan for and respond to hurricanes, and other tropical events. All those that have gone before us, our good friend Guy and all the folks you saw today, they've kind of laid a foundation for the incredible work that we see happening today. All of us, we didn't always agree, and we sat around some pretty tense tables, but we sat around those tables together, and we came up with solutions that never could have happened if all of the folks, like the folks in this room and those that went before us, weren't willing to come together and come up with some pretty difficult solutions to some pretty serious problems in this state. This conference in its 29th year has brought us all together in significant ways, different ways, fun ways, serious ways. The cycle of year-round planning, for those of you who don't realize how much planning actually goes into putting this conference together, even conversations about what should the theme be, it's truly immeasurable. But it culminates in bringing all of you together once a year, but the work goes on year-round. Many a solution to significant challenges were born from the teamwork initiated by the Governor's Hurricane Conference. It's a well-oiled machine. And many thanks go to my dear friend Lynn Daines and her very small but mighty team of workers. Thanks to the leadership of the sponsoring agencies, the countless efforts and experts brought in to provide the latest information, share their experiences on complex issues, to participants from every sector, public, private, and independent, who come here to share their perspectives and listen to others. These people, you and the agencies that you represent and organizations and companies that you represent, are what makes this conference so great. And third, to our dear, close friends and our families who give up a piece of us, especially time, so that we can serve our communities, our great state, in such an important and vital way. I'm so happy to have our sweet daughters here, Shannon and Rebecca, who were 21 and 19 years old, and for 21 and 19 years respectively, they've had both of their parents in this field. To my awesome husband Chuck, our state logistics chief, who's always in my corner. Go home and thank your families. Lynn told me I could have more time, so I'm taking a couple minutes. No, but thank them. They give up a little piece of you so that you can serve folks at their worst time, and that's important. So we thank them too. And finally, I want to thank the American Red Cross, whose mission is as relevant today as it was over 130 years ago. The mentors and leaders and friendships and comrades I've had in the Red Cross and in all of the other sectors, nonprofit, emergency management, private, continue to have a special place in my heart, and we'll always be part of each other, and that's a special gift. In this field, we meet each other around the planning table, and we meet each other in the trenches, and we build up a trust and camaraderie that relatively few know, and what a privilege that has been. Thank you.
Please join me in one final round of applause for all of our awards recipients. This concludes our 2015 awards ceremony, and on behalf of the Governor's Hurricane Conference directors, officers, and volunteer and paid staff, we hope you enjoy the remainder of the conference. If the award recipients would please come forward so we can take group photos, and thank you very much. Have a good day.